Venezuela was once called the jewel of Latin America. This country, which shined with oil wealth, was one of South America's most developed economies in the mid-20th century. Luxury cars roamed the streets of Caracas, and people lived in prosperity. But today, those same streets are where people search for food in the trash. Venezuela has a vast land area of 916,000 square kilometers. To the north lies the Caribbean Sea, and its neighbors are Colombia, Brazil, and Guyana. Its official population is around 28 million, but millions have been forced to migrate. Because in this country, hope has become more valuable than even bread. The beginning of this collapse lies with Hugo Chávez. Chávez, who came to power in 1999, rallied the people behind him with the slogan Bolivarian Revolution and gained great support with social welfare projects. Programs providing free food, healthcare, and education to the poor were popular. But behind these policies was a dangerous dependence: oil. Venezuela holds one of the largest oil reserves in the world. The economy was almost entirely tied to this single resource. While oil prices were high, the country grew rich, but no alternative production was developed. And when prices fell, the entire system collapsed in one blow. Instead of accepting this situation, the state began printing money. This brought hyperinflation and reduced the currency's value to nearly zero. If people didn't rush to the market on payday, a few hours later they couldn't even buy half as much with the same money. This wasn't just a crisis, it was a systematic collapse. Finding basic necessities in stores has become a luxury. Shelves are empty, people wait in line for hours, and sometimes return with nothing. Diapers, flour, and milk are sold on the black market. People call their weight loss the Maduro diet because they are literally starving. Hugo Chávez died in 2013 and was succeeded by Nicolas Maduro. But nothing changed for the people. In fact, things got even worse. The Maduro administration brutally suppressed protests, silenced the media, and took full control of the judiciary. Democracy turned into nothing more than a piece of paper. Elections in the country are no longer trustworthy. Opposition candidates are either imprisoned or disqualified. A system was created where the results were known even before the ballots were opened, and the people can neither make their voices heard nor intervene in governance. Street protests have grown even larger in recent years. In the 2017 and 2019 demonstrations, hundreds were killed and thousands were arrested. Power outages, water shortages, and lack of medicine made people even more desperate. Venezuela has become not just poor, but unlivable. People are desperately fleeing the country. Hundreds of thousands are trying to escape on foot through the Colombian border. Some go to Brazil, while others leave everything behind in the hope of reaching somewhere farther. And those who stay behind watch a nation collapse in real time. The Maduro administration is still in power and calls those who leave traitors. The media still tells a story of great prosperity, but the streets scream the truth. The patience of the people has worn thin, and even aid from the outside world is blocked by the regime. This is not only an economic disaster, it is a humanitarian catastrophe. Venezuela no longer stands as a country, but as a warning before the world. A live example of how massive wealth like oil can turn into disaster through mismanagement. A bitter reality that proves prosperity cannot be sustained without democracy. And this story of collapse isn't over yet. In Venezuela, it's not just hunger anymore. Lack of security has also become part of daily life. The country has had one of the highest murder rates in the world for years. Its streets are controlled by gangs, mafia groups, and paramilitary organizations. In many regions, government authority is either absent or in collaboration with these gangs. Young people are growing up in the midst of this violence. Many are forced to learn survival skills instead of receiving an education. Some join gangs, while others dream of escaping. In other words, the generation meant to build the future can't even complete the present. The education system is on the verge of collapse. There are neither enough teachers nor basic supplies in schools. In some areas, students attend class on empty stomachs. Most teachers have either resigned or migrated out of the country. The health sector is in an even more pitiful state. Hospitals lack medicine, medical equipment, and doctors. Even infections have become deadly. People try to heal through prayer chains on social media instead of going to hospitals. Women carry the heaviest burden of the crisis. They struggle to find food for their children at home and to protect themselves from harassment on the streets. Prostitution has increased because there are no other means of income. Femicide and domestic violence are rising rapidly. The media has become the voice of the regime, not the people. The state controls all major media outlets. Independent newspapers have been shut down and TV channels have turned into propaganda tools. Those who criticize the regime on social media are instantly detained. The internet is frequently cut off, and some websites are permanently blocked. This disconnects the people from the rest of the world. Those who want to learn the truth are forced to use VPNs and proxies. But that too is risky because digital surveillance is intense. All production sectors outside of oil have come to a halt. Agriculture is dead, industry has collapsed, and imports have stopped. People live unable to find even the most basic products. The entire country resembles a ghost of its once prosperous past. The state tries to save people from starvation by distributing food packages. But those aids are now insufficient, low quality, and irregular. People scavenge for food in garbage, searching for fruit among market leftovers. The humanitarian crisis is no longer just a statistic, it is visible on the streets. Migration has become the last hope for survival for Venezuelans. Hundreds of thousands attempt to cross the Colombian border on foot. Those who set out without passports, documents, or money seek refuge in camps in other countries. But even there, life is not easy. They are marginalized and used as cheap labor. Those left behind live in a state of silent resistance. There's no electricity, no water, but hope is not yet gone. Small solidarity groups are forming in neighborhoods, and people support one another. Because now the people rely not on the state, but on each other. Venezuela's collapse is not just a domestic issue. The wave of migration spreading to neighboring countries has caused serious crises across all of Latin America. Countries like Colombia, Peru, and Brazil are trying to keep their borders under overwhelming pressure. Venezuelan migrants have now become a regional problem. Venezuelans living abroad have become a source of hope for their people. Doctors, artists, and activists in the diaspora are sending both knowledge and financial support. These people, trying to make their voices heard on social media, have become the voice of those silenced inside the country. Because telling the truth has now become a form of resistance. Nicolas Maduro is still in power, but in the eyes of the people, he lost legitimacy long ago. Elections are dubious, and institutions are completely under control. As long as the military supports the regime, any possibility of change is suppressed. But external pressure and internal uprisings are growing every day. The United States and the European Union continue to impose sanctions on the Maduro regime. However, these sanctions often hit the people more than the leaders. As economic pressure increases, people's living conditions worsen. This also makes the opposition's job harder because hungry people have less strength to fight. An alternative leadership tried to emerge in the country. Juan Guaido was a brief spark of hope, but his impact was not sustainable. Even though international recognition was achieved, his power within the country remained limited. Because real change does not last unless it rises from the streets and the people. Venezuelan youth can no longer dream. Universities are empty, libraries are closed, and plans for the future have been put on hold. Having a university degree no longer guarantees a livelihood. People now earn diplomas not to survive, but to leave the country. Even in the midst of this collapse, art resists with pain. Rappers scream against oppression, street artists paint the truth on walls. Filmmakers have gone underground to tell the world about the tragedy. art remains one of the few free spaces left in Venezuela. Women are once again on the front lines of resistance. Motherhood, activism, and survival have become intertwined. Secret women's solidarity networks are being established in neighborhoods because they know the hope of a woman can be the reason a society stands up. Venezuela is a country proud of its natural beauty. Angel Falls, the Amazon rainforest, the Caribbean coast. But even nature has been abandoned. Tourism has collapsed, environmental disasters go unmonitored, and natural resources are being recklessly exploited. In all this darkness, one thing hasn't changed: the light inside people. If a child walking in the street can still smile, if an old woman can still sing, then hope still lives. Solidarity is the first step to healing, and Venezuela still has the strength to take that step. This video doesn't just tell the tragedy of Venezuela, it also shows how the world can remain silent with its eyes wide open. It tells how a dream built on oil turned into a nightmare. But every nightmare has a morning, and Venezuela is resisting to see that sunrise. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share your voice with us in the comments. See you in the next video, friends. And remember, sometimes silence is deeper than a scream.